And I suppose, kind of looking at Clayton, I suppose, like, first off, it's no secret that Carmine, as you kind of made reference to earlier, had become sort of Gears of War's Kenny from South Park.
Right.
Just the member of the team that always got it, basically, in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, going into the third installment of the series and the third installment of the Carmine character, there was, of course, the famous Save Carmine and Kill Carmine campaigns that were running simultaneously.
Right.
You yourself, Michael, did you want the third iteration of Carmine to go out in a blaze of glory, or did you personally want him to stand tall at the end?
I was kind of torn because I totally got the whole, Kenny from South Park angle, and a lot of people were, it's tradition, Carmines have to die, and I thought, well, I guess I'm okay with that if I'm hoping that there's a big family with a lot of brothers, and hopefully they kind of all sound alike. But then again, I felt like, God, I felt terrible for poor Mrs. Carmine. And just being, from my own selfish angle, I thought, well, yeah, but it would be great if he lives, because then he's still there and he can be, I know this is the end of the trilogy and we don't know what if anything will still come, but at least, he's alive and he can go down different paths from here. So, yeah, I was torn. I guess if I was forced with a gun to my head to vote, I would have voted to save him. But I certainly understand the flip side.
And finally, as you said earlier, Michael, you're not only talented voice-wise, but you're also talented musically. And on your website, I saw that you played the tin whistle. So how does someone such as yourself get an interest in traditional Irish music?
Well, I think it's a kind of music that I've always been interested in some ways. Actually, the last theater thing that I did here in LA was an Irish play. And during the course of the play, at various intervals, I got to play and do some singing. And there was another guy in the play who is, he's from, I'm not sure if he's from Dublin or maybe just outside of Dublin, but he's a really accomplished Irish musician. His name is Ken O'Malley. And I've gotten to know him pretty well. And he plays all over the place, plays constantly, and he's a wonderful musician and singer. And I don't know. I mean, I started out, my main thing is keyboards and piano and keyboards, and then I kind of got into things that you can blow on, like flute and tin whistle, Irish whistle, bagpipes, and also the theremin, which is a whole other strange thing. But yeah, I mean, it is music that I like and I like to play, and I even got to play around with my Irish accent in the last play, and it's I don't know how long it's been since I started. There we go. Since I started playing the Irish whistle, but yeah, it's plus they're kind of easy to lug around, and I've got some of different sizes, and it's just it's a fun thing that I got into, and I really like to do it.
So Michael, for you, what does the future hold for Michael Gough? Would you prefer to put the Carmine character to rest and focus on other things, or would you like to continue with the Gears of War series?
Oh, well, I'd love to continue, because it doesn't, nothing's mutually exclusive. When you're an actor, work is good. So I would love for Carmine and Gears to continue off into infinity. Excuse the cat in the background. Because there's plenty of times when you're if you're an actor and you're wondering, what's happening? When's the next thing coming? Will the phone ever ring again? There's a couple other big game franchises that I've worked on that are coming out, I think, later this year. I would say long live Gears of War and Carmine, and anything that comes along that has anything to do with either of them, I would certainly welcome and be excited about.
On this edition of Ask and You Shall Receive, I welcome on the guest that I was speaking to about 10 seconds ago on the podcast, Michael Gough. Thanks very much for sticking around.
Hey, Colm, my pleasure, of course, and how the time flies when you're having fun. We've been chatting, and I've had the time of my life.
The segment will consist of myself asking Michael as many questions in 1 minute as he can answer, therefore letting you, the listener, get to know Michael Gough even better. Questions included are game related and also contain stuff totally unrelated to gaming. There are 60 questions compiled by the Game Shroom team. I will ask Mr. Gough before we begin for a number between 1 and 60, which will correspond with a question. Then once he's answered that question, he'll give another number between 1 and 60, and so on, and so on, and so on. So Michael Gough, what number would you like to choose for your very first question?
For some reason, as soon as you said between 1 and 60, the first thing that popped into my head was 49.
And while I'm setting this up, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Well, there's always, and it needs, in desperate need of some updating, but michaelgough.com, michaelgough.com. Well, there are a couple of other pretty big games that are coming out later this year, and we're certainly here to talk about and praise and plug and revere Gears of War 3. But just I'll mention in passing, another one that's coming up is Diablo 3. And then there's Elder Scrolls Skyrim is another one. I think it's Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim.
It is.
So those are just a couple of the kind of bigger things that are floating around out there. There's a DVD that just came out called Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz. In which I am the Scarecrow. Totally far afield from Gears of War, but the Batman Arkham City has been out for a little bit, and I'm just dropping a few titles here and there, but that's kind of what's been happening lately.
Okay, so Michael, number 49 you said, yeah?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Last time.
Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Well, you may have heard my cat in the background. I have a cat. I don't have a dog, but I grew up with both of them. We had dogs and cats, and I love them both. Right now, I'm not around enough. I feel terribly guilty about having a dog and not having the time that you need to spend when you have a dog, walking it and running around and playing. Even though the cat likes to play too, the cat can survive on its own when I'm not around, and then, we roughhouse when we're together. So that's kind of a non-answer to the question. I'm being non-committal, although currently it's all about the cat. Okay, 3.
What's the worst game you've ever played?
Ms. Pac-Man.
Really?
I just had to pull something out of thin air. For some reason, I didn't care for Ms. Pac-Man. I loved Pac-Man. I don't know. Ms. Pac-Man just kind of bugged me. It was like different enough from Pac-Man to be really relevant on its own, I thought.
And for your final question, Michael, what number would you like to choose?
Oh, only one more?
Only one more? I'm afraid.
Let me spin the dial in my head here and come up with 27.
Your biggest fear
biggest fear. Can I pick another number? My biggest fear is being asked what my biggest fear is. Let's see. Now I have to like dig into my psyche and confront. Let's see. My biggest fear is being engulfed in a simultaneous wall of flames and swirling ocean, and being burned alive and drowning at the same time.
So basically,
That's not really true. That's not really my biggest fear, but I can't really, if I started getting into the deep reaches of my psyche, then I'd be here forever. Sobbing.
I suppose surely one of your biggest fears is suffering the same fate as one of the Carmine brothers.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, in a way, if you got to go, it's, if you can go suddenly, like Anthony, that might be better than just prolonged suffering. Well, all of our fears kind of simmer just below the surface. So I'll leave the lid on that for now.